How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether the price is going up or down. Coinbase to shutter Bitcoin borrow service next week. Coinbase announced that it will be discontinuing its lending product. The company will stop issuing new loans from May 10th, although current users of the product will not be impacted and their loans will remain active until they are matured. This isn't a move that's any sort of regulatory enforcement. This is just them trying to assess what's best for the customers, and they don't have very much usage, or it doesn't seem like a good use of their resources, so they're moving on to other things. Coinbase Borrow allows users from certain US states to borrow up to $1 million using BTC as collateral. Exchange also indicated that the closure of this has nothing to do with any enforcement, so I kind of just covered that. So on to the next. What? We lost our article there. DCG Barry Shilbert sells $755,000 worth of grayscale Ethereum, and this is linked to our next article. Barry Shilbert, the founder and CEO of DCG Group, has sold some of his grayscale Ethereum Classic Trust shares. DCG is one of the largest crypto conglomerates in the market, so they're one of the biggest people in crypto. If you haven't heard of them, they hold a lot, so them selling is a lot of sell pressure. This also appears to be the first time that Shilbert has sold any of his ETCG shares, according to the SEC filings. So you might be wondering, why is he selling all of a sudden? Well, Shilbert has been in the crosshairs over the past months due to a $630 million debt DCG owned lending to Genesis, or who owns Gemini. Earlier this week, the company has announced that they had entered a 30-day mediation process to sell the outstanding loan balance. So you might be wondering, how does DCG paying Gemini relate to anything? Well, it relates to FTX, because Genesis was one of the main feeder funds of FTX, and they're going after Gemini for some money. In another notable turn of events in the FTX Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings, the collapsed crypto exchange is now attempting to recover approximately $3.9 billion from Genesis Global Capital. In May 3rd filing, FTX said that it intends to begin adversary processes against GGC. Genesis was one of the main feeder funds for FTX and instrumental to its fraudulent business model, reads the document. At one point in 2021, GGC had over $8 billion of outstanding loans to FTX debtor Alameda Research Ltd. As part of their business arrangement with FTX, GGC and GGC International maintain customer accounts on FTX.com, and they provided billions of dollars worth of crypto loans to Alameda. GGC was taking their customer funds and giving that to Alameda so FTX could take it from Alameda, basically. So that's why Barry is selling his Ethereum Classic. So, over on the hourly, we are getting a little bit of a rise on Bitcoin dominance, but we are in a bit of an up channel. Kind of hard to call an up channel if we don't get a new high, but if we end up creating a new high, that could create an up channel. Our momentum is trying to come back up. Our stochastic is trying to head back up. RSI is kind of flat, but it really doesn't have too much more room to go, really. That stochastic coming up might make it start to curl. Our money flow is trying to curl, VWAP's trying to curl up, so our dominance here could start to pump forwards. So we might invalidate that bearish divergence. Our altcoins besides Bitcoin looks like they bled a little bit into Bitcoin. As our stochastic's starting to curl, RSI is pointing down, money flow is getting close to breaking neutral again, our VWAP is very weak on the bullish side. Momentum is trying to curl up with a green dot, but we're going to have to see if that money flow can hold and if that stochastic can reverse course. Over on Bitcoin, again, if there's any more coins or anything you guys would like to see, let me know in the comments. Don't feel shy to say anything in the comments that you would like to see different. Our RSI is starting to curl over, stochastic's starting to run up, but kind of starting to curl over here. Momentum's trying to run up, getting a little bit of a green dot. Our VWAP's trying to run up with it too, Our money flow is somewhat holding its ground, so we look a little indecisive here on the 1 hour, which is alright. We are coming back into our golden pocket though, so that's a little skeptical, and we are pushing away from this value area high, so we could come back to the point of control, at which point we may break it. Over on the 4 hour here, we did have that little bullish setup, but it did not take us anywhere. That's an example why it will not always work out. It's not 100, nothing's ever going to be 100% guaranteed. Our stochastic's starting to fall, RSI is starting to fall, momentum's starting to fall, money flow is falling out, getting close to testing the bearish zone, and our VWAP is falling out as well on the 4 hour here. Over on the 2 hour, momentum is falling, but it is trying to somewhat curl along that neutral zone, so it's trying to maintain bullish momentum. Money flow is struggling to go bearish, but it hasn't really gone too strong bullishly either, and it's just been flat for quite some time. Pretty much since we broke from that triangle. Our VWAP is trying to head up overall, but it's kind of flattening out and curling, so I'd say we look like we could kind of push away from here if we're not careful, and with it being the golden pocket, we could see a quick downside. Over on the 1 hour here, RSI is trying to head up, stochastic's trying to curl, so it could try to get a little of a push up if it does make that curl and get a bullish cross. Money flow overall is heading out, so that's not too good for us. Our VWAP is in the bearish zone, but it is trying to curl up, and it's not really too far into the bearish zone right now. Our momentum is curling down with a red dot that did confirm last candle though, so if we don't get some momentum to invalidate that, we may be in for some more bearish action. Over on our futures, we've only filled half of that gap from yesterday, so we do have that. Over on graph, we do have a bearish engulfing candle here. So bearish engulfing candle is a bearish pattern. It's where you have a big red candle that engulfs a big green candle. Our RSI is pointing down, stochastic's starting to curl, money flow is starting to reject away from the neutral, but our momentum is trying to curl up with a green dot, so our momentum's trying to say we have some strength to go, but everything else is saying, hey, we're starting to fall. Over on the 4 hour, we are getting a red X that could confirm here. Stochastic's starting to run down, but it looks like it wants to tighten up and try and make a bullish cross. Our RSI is somewhat flattening out. Our momentum is curling down, but it looks like it may start to curl back up. Our VWAP's gone pretty flat under the neutral zone at about 5, so not too strong, but it has a little strength. Our VWAP is overall heading away from the neutral line and is bearish, but is trying to come up currently, but is struggling to get past this 8 zone. So over on the 2 hour, might have a descending triangle here, so that's not good as that would indicate more further breakdown. Stochastic's starting to fall down, RSI is going pretty flat, VWAP's trying to come up out of the bearish zone, but we'll have to see if it gets any further. Our money flow is aggressively heading out, is trying to come up a little bit, but overall heading out pretty strongly, and that could lead into the higher time frames and bring them down. Our momentum is trying to curl, so that is positive for us, but we're not looking too strong with that money flow. On the 1 hour, the money flow did try to break bullish several times. It got rejected on each occasion, didn't even get above the neutral zone. Our RSI is trying to head up right now. Overall, it's falling though. And our stochastic is making a bearish cross soon and could start to fall down as well. Our money flow, like I said, curling away, not too strong on the 1 hour. If we don't get some strength here on the 1 hour, then we may not get anything to help push us forward. Over on Anchor on the daily, we have a really big red candle compared to the size of that last daily green candle. Excuse me for a second. Stochastic's starting to curl, RSI is starting to fall, money flow is starting to reject away, VWAP is getting close to that neutral zone and wants to go bullish. Our momentum wants to come back up, so we have some signals saying we want to go back up and other signals saying we want to drop, so we have a little bit of indecision here on Anchor. Over on the 4 hour, our money flow overall is coming out, stochastic is falling, RSI is trying to curl upward, our VWAP is bearish, it is trying to curl up though, but our momentum is curling down away from that neutral zone after trying to break bullish with a red dot, so that could bring us down a little further, especially with that money flow falling. Over on the 2 hour, a little bit of a descending triangle here as well. Stochastic's trying to get a little bit of a curl, RSI is trying to get a little bit of a curl. Money flow overall is heading out, but is trying to curl up currently. Our momentum's trying to curl up, but doesn't currently have a green dot. And our VWAP is getting close to breaking through that neutral zone, so we'll have to see if that medium turn can get some bullish momentum behind it. Over on the 1 hour, our money flow was coming up, but it looks like it's starting to reject away, so if we start to fall away from here, that's going to set us up for some further downside. Our RSI is trying to point up, stochastic's trying to point up, VWAP's trying to come up, our momentum is trying to curl up out of this bearish territory, so that momentum is going good for us as well as the stochastic and RSI, but if that money flow doesn't come in, then all those indicators will start to kind of taper away. Over on XRP on the daily, we're still within this flag, just barely lugging along, not really going anywhere lately. RSI's slipping away, stochastic's trying to push though, so those are in disagreement as our stochastic says we have strength, but our RSI is losing. Our money flow is pretty flat, VWAP's trying to curl up, momentum is heading down currently, but it could start to curl up, but doesn't look too promising. Our 4 hour, our stochastic looks like we could get a bullish cross, RSI is pointing up, money flow is coming up, about to test that neutral zone, so if it can maintain a bullish trend for a little bit, that would be good for us. Our momentum's trying to curl up with a green dot, so we are flashing some decent signals here. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic setting a lower high and starting to curl off, RSI is starting to taper off, VWAP looks like it's starting to curl off, our money flow is overall coming out, but is trying to inch up right now. Our momentum has a green dot, but looks like it could start to curl over if we're not careful. Over on the 1 hour, we are getting a little bit of a reversal arrow, which that was a little bit of an uptrend, so that could signal we'll have a downtrend coming. Stochastic's starting to round off, RSI is pointing up because it currently has strength. VWAP's starting to head up, our momentum is trying to curl up, but it looks like it could start to curl out here. Our money flow is pushing forward, overall it is pretty well into the bearish zone, but we are trying to push forward and sort of stair step up right now. So if we can continue, that could set us up for some upside, but this little bit of a flag we're in doesn't have me too convinced. Over on Algo for the daily, don't know why it got so smooshed. We do have a bearish engulfing candle here too. Stochastic's rounding off, RSI is heading down, our money flow is curling out, momentum is trying to come up, did have that green dot, but it's really not getting a curl up, and it's kind of curling away here, so we may get a red dot soon. Not a good look right now. Our money flow is heading out on the 4 hour, momentum is trying to curl up, stochastic is falling, RSI is trying to curl up, but if the stochastic continues to fall, that RSI is likely to follow. Our VWAP is trying to come up, our money flow overall is heading out and starting to make lower lows, so that's not too good. Over on the 2 hour, our momentum is trying to curl up, stochastic's trying to get a bullish cross, and RSI is pointing up, so those are a little decent for us. VWAP is trying to head up, our money flow keeps rejecting that neutral zone, so it's not able to get a bullish trend and keeps falling away. And finally, on the 1 hour, our stochastic is trying to run up, RSI is trying to inch up, VWAP's trying to inch up, money flow across the neutral zone, but doesn't really have much strength, so it could just flop over. Our momentum was coming up with a double green dot, but that's looking like it could start to flop over too if we're not careful. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.